To no one's surprise, I began to cry. Again. Not just a few tears, but a raging river of tears. Desperation and anger like I had not felt before. Time for us to go home? I loved my home, but I didn't want to go home. Home is where I would wake up in the middle of the night and hear the creaking and cracking of the walls. Home is where I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. Home is where my pupils were of different sizes. Home is where I would stare into the toilet while looking at a color chart. Home is where the EMTs had to come to get me in the middle of the night, the neighbors peering out of their windows. Home is where they loaded me on a stretcher. I was embarrassed that I was too heavy for them to carry and told them so. Even then I was stressing about how I looked and how much of a burden I was. Home is where I was losing my mind. And then he appeared. I had seen him off and on through the night. He had checked in on me a few times. The nurse who blew out my vein was gone, and this man was now at my bedside. Usually I'm not particularly eager to make a scene, but I was done. I cried out to him. I told him that I had come to the hospital because I wanted to feel better, and all I received was a terrible bruise and a stack of papers telling me how to find a therapist. I shouted that I had lost nearly 30 pounds in less than a month and knew I needed to eat but wasn't hungry, that I needed to sleep but my mind wouldn't stop spinning, that I thought I was going crazy. With the most gentle and caring bedside manner, he took my hand, looked at my wife and me, and told me that he had been watching me throughout the night, and that even though it didn't feel like it now, I was going to be okay. He was the first person I believed. He shared with us that I reminded him of a soldier he once knew who had been to war. He recognized that I was exhausted, that I had fought until I couldn't fight any more. He said he knew all this because he was that soldier and had been in the same ditch as me. He told us he didn't feel good about sending us home without something to help me feel better. I still had a long road ahead, but he reached into that familiar ditch, pulled me to safety, bandaged my wounds, and asked the attending physician if he would prescribe something to help settle me and help me sleep. The Good Samaritan wrote his phone number down on a piece of paper and told us that we could call him if we needed his help. He told us he didn't usually do this, but felt a true kinship with me and wanted to help if he could. We never reached out. Maybe I should now.